I don't know if anyone's interested in this or not, but
Sure they are.
I thought I would share this. So I'm drawing this comic called Heaven's Rejects, and issue 4. These are my thumbnails basically. So like this layer here, right here, this is the thumbnail layer. So let me open the thumbnail real quick so you can see this. So this is my page of thumbnails. This is 8 pages of thumbnails. So this is the one I'm working on right now. Or I'm finishing up with this, and I wanted to get this done before we started because I'm almost done with page 14. So page 15, these are my thumbnails. So what I do is I'll drop them in. This is an 11 by 17 document. It has all of the markings like a comic page would have that you would purchase, but it's just a digital file. And on this one, you can see, because in this story, there's a lot of cars. And so what I've done is I photographed, this is my photograph. I put it on a grid. I put a white behind it so that you can see the details. But this is, so here's a car that's going off a cliff. Now I took a picture of it like that. Well, my screen's corrected, but it's sitting down. And
cool.
And then there's the last panel.
So for every models too. That's what's great about
them. They're straight up Hot Wheels. I paid $1 a piece for them, but I probably have 400 of them. Years ago, in the early or in the late.
How many?
I got a lot of Hot Wheels.
How many inches? How many inches is the across?
Are the Hot Wheels?
Yeah. I'll be muting myself every now and then when I eat. So if I seem very silent, I am.
So this is one of the Hot Wheels. So it's hot. Did you ever play with Hot Wheels when you were a kid, Ellis?
They're smaller than I expected that nice looking model to be.
Yeah, I mean they got the details are a little blurry. Like for example, they don't have mirrors. So you have to know a little bit about cars, but man, for proportions and stuff, they're great.
Oh yeah, they're accurate. Yeah.
There's so many cars in it. I mean, you can see like here on this page. And so what I did when I got the script, I went through and I wrote down every car that I would need, and then I went through all my Hot Wheels, and I have a bunch of these.
Wow, look at all those you got. Amazing.
I probably about 10 of these, and they're double-sided. Back in the day, I collected. Me and David Nelson used to go, and we'd hang out. We'd go to Toys R Us in the middle of the night.
And you get the new releases right when they came out, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, well, that's what we did. Like people would do with like comics or something. And oops, sorry about that. I'm trying to put my phone on my clip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we would do. And anyway, so I had all these, and that's what I originally bought them for, because I was, again, going back to John Byrne. That was something that John Byrne always recommended. Now, if you look at his studio, he has nicer models, but he has more money than I do. And there's a wall in his studio that if you ever see pictures of his house, which you put a bunch online, he has a glass case that's filled with these that are probably 1/8 scale, I guess. They're probably 6 or 7 inches across. So I bought it's working. I bought a 10-foot cord for my phone just for this. Okay.
Just for this.
Yeah, well, because it reaches to my plug under my desk.
I need to do a few things just for this if I wanted it to look better, sound better, and everything like that. I should get better equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Supposedly, I could run everything with the iPhone nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm using.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even me being on my side of it of running StreamYard, it now.
Oh, you 100% could.
Yeah, now you can. You used to could.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna run back into the office, but you'll still be able to hear me because I'm on my cordless phone or headphones. But anyway, so that's what. Ellis, I'd have thought the other day. This fall, we need to do another movie.
Yeah, sure. A short, sure.
Yes.
Got.
You dropped out. Would you say?
Yeah, sure.
You
short. Yes? You bet.
So, yeah, I mean, something not like a 2-hour thing, but yeah, I think we need to do another one. I've been seeing those pictures. I found somebody did a documentary, and it was just very short and to the point, little documentary about the tunnels downtown, and it made me miss going downtown, but it made me also go, Ellis and I need to record something. I mean, do a video, a movie, or not a movie, but another short thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It is a fun thing to do. Anything requiring really extraordinary planning and a crew is kind of out of question for me.
Sure.
I mean, you've got to have family and friends in terms of budget. It's got to be that way.
You have neither. So
yeah, right. That's right.
No, I mean, but yeah, well, I mean, but some of the stuff that we've done, I thought was pretty fun to do and came out really well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought U-Rang and Coin Toss are very good.
Yeah.
And the Hobo's Bindle was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, our 3 outings at that have turned out all right, which I'm going to have to do frame grabs from all those, and that will go into my comic book, which I've decided the name of the comic book is Curious Accounts. And that's going to be the name of those 3 stories, which are based on you and my effort at collaborating on those shorts. It was the launch point, basically, for all those stories. All the stories have been changed, but it was the launch point, the titles, and then the concept of a guy coming along here.
What was the name of it?
It was going to be called Curious Accounts. So
I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of classier than it probably is, basically. So it's I thought it's one of those things while you're searching for words, you finally get enough word salad going, and you say, hey, I like that. Curious Accounts. The other
Flashbox Pro's watching.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. And we have another fellow named Hervé Grahovac.
Don't know, but thank you for watching.
Hervé Grahovac. And the other thing, I sent you that email about Larry Latham, who, he was our local guy. He was a co-founder of our little mini con around here that was called OAF, which is Oklahoma Alliance of Fans, and it may have the distinction of being the oldest con in the United States, dedicated exclusively to fandom, and it is so anyway. So he'd be about my age, but he died.
Ellis, you're kind of dropping out.
Am I?
For me, at least.
Well, okay. Not much I can do about it. I was having trouble earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just me.
Yeah. Anyway, so Larry Latham.
Yeah. What was the name of that? You sent me the email.
It was called The Aftermath.
The Aftermath.
And it
wasn't filmed here.
Part of it was.
Oh, part of it was?
Yeah. That's what's amazing was you're watching it, all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, that's the Skirvin Hotel.
Not California.
Yeah.
It had the Skirvin in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're on the roof running around like a bunch of idiots and shooting their sci-fi weapons. I don't know how they got away with it. Basically, it was that guerrilla filmmaking, basically, because they were out on the ledges, running around on the outside of it. It was pretty ridiculous looking, really.
Watching it tonight. I'll watch it before I go to bed.
Oh, it's going to be hard for you to watch it because it's not really well made.
Well, I'll watch it while I'm drawing in my sketchbook.
Okay, there you go. That's the only way.
So how's everything going, Ellis? Oh, sorry.
So the other thing I've got written down as a title is Kevin Strange says sounds good here, so it may be your equipment.
Okay,
Scott.
it must be me. I may switch headphones here. I got another pair. I may go to corded.
Okay.
Since I'm close. Good. I'm glad it sounds good over there, though. Give me a second. I'll switch.
So anyway, the title on this entry is Leonard Elmore. And I've got it purposely backwards because I just finished your book that you gave me, which I'll show to everybody here, called The Complete Western Stories of Elmore Leonard. And you can see how thick that is. It's about 550 pages of Leonard's cowboy fiction. Looks like Scott is changing equipment. So the very last story is one that they drug out of obscurity. It's called The Treasure of Mungo's Landing. And the reason it was not in the bibliography of Elmore Leonard at all is that they had his name backwards. It was Leonard Elmore. And so anyway, so I read it, and it's cool that, finish off with a story that hadn't been read or seen the light of day in all these years. My favorite streamers.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I dropped out for a second when I switched headphones. Is that the book? Is that the Western book?
Yeah. I was just telling everybody.
Did you finish it?
I just finished it, and I was telling the story about why the stream is titled Leonard Elmore, because there was a story that was misascribed to him as Leonard Elmore and had remained lost up until now, and until that book, and they found it and put it out, and they're so proud of having found the story. They made it the very last story, kind of the cherry on top. And here's one you wouldn't have been getting, except we found it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think Fly Fox Pro snubbed you. That's funny. I'm glad you read that book. So for anyone in the audience, I don't know if Ellis went into this, but that book is a book of Western stories that I was at a thrift store and literally was a quarter, and I couldn't pass it up. I could not pass it up. And I got it home and I said, I don't know if I'll ever get to, because I have a book like that I got real cheap of detective stories. It's not Elmore Leonard's. It's the Black Mass Book of Crime or something like that. And I've never read it. And I thought, you know what? I bet Ellis would appreciate this more than I will. And so I gave it to Ellis. I didn't even charge him a quarter.
Well, I did appreciate it. And the thing you appreciate about Elmore Leonard is his ability to hook you within seconds with the situations and the characters, and he's got you. And that is a rare talent. He also has a way of writing his heroes that you project yourself into them. They're always a really worthwhile hero because they have that Rudyard Kipling quality of like everybody else is losing their head, but you are a man, my son. Basically, it's the synopsis of If you're cool enough that you've kept your head. And things come out well for you because you played it cool. And the Elmore, what? Go ahead.
Well, it's funny you say that because I do my own podcast, and I'm always trying to look for an angle. And I've wanted to do one for a while about Harrison Ford, and I never could find a hook, and it's that idea of Harrison Ford was always the guy like that, and that's what I'm going to.
Cool guy, yeah.
That's exactly the hook I needed for the podcast. Anyway, sorry, but Elmore Leonard, his heroes are like that.
Yeah, and just think about how important it is for a hero like McQueen. He's not ever going to get up to the edge of hysteria as he does anything. He's always going to. Stay cool. All of our heroes are always playing it cool, basically. Paul Newman was always cool.
Certainly the classic. I mean, I would argue now it's more goofballs, but that's that's something different. But I mean, and I think that it's funny you say that. I mean, because I had a situation at work, and at work I'm a manager, so I have people that work under me. And I've been working on this project, and I sent Ellis some of it. Basically, it's a bunch of portraits that we have to do for a customer, a client. They want them etched on plaques. If you work for this company for 20 years, you get a portrait with your face on it, or you get a plaque with your portrait etched on it. And another company, a competitor, was doing them, and they couldn't do them. They had problems. And so it's fallen on us. And there's a guy in another department. He's not one of my employees, but there's a guy in our department that was doing them. And he was telling me, oh man, we got all these back. I've been assigned to kind of help him, in my department to kind of help him. And literally, like today, he was like, man, I got these back, and he was like, man, I had to like relax because I was out on the ledge, and literally he was freaked out about it. I looked at it and I'm like, dude, this is no big deal. We got this, And so I think that the ability, and not trying to toot my own horn or whatever, but one of the reasons I have the position I have at my work is because, and I've been told this, because I can keep cool under pressure. Now that makes my wife laugh because she would disagree with that, but whatever. She's not my boss. Well, not like that at least. But so on my podcast that I want to do that as and Harrison Ford, and I was trying to figure out what to call it, that episode, because I always have kind of try and have like a tricky title, but I was going to call it.
You went blank, Scott. There, you're back again. You blanked out for a moment.
Oh, Ellis.
You blanked out, Scott. Are you still with us?
Ellis, can you hear me? If you can hear me, I
can hear you, but I think you're
Ellis.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Now I hear you.
Okay.
I think think these headphones may have a short in them. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I got a phone call. I got one person that always calls me on Wednesday, and I tell them every stinking week, don't call me on Wednesdays. And I forget to put my phone on the silent or whatever, air mode. Anyway, so I've been wanting to do one of my podcasts about Harrison Ford. I was going to call it Harrison Ford and the Art of Masculinity, but that didn't sound right. And that wasn't really what I was getting for.
Yeah, you probably should dip into
the idea was that when I was a Harrison Ford, but other characters, I mean, I looked up to Steve McQueen as a kid. I mean, The Great Escape was one of my favorite movies.
Sure.
But this idea that the heroes were always people that never panicked, and I never really put that together. I just put it as people that could take care of problems, you know. And unfortunately, in my real life, that's what I get called on to do a lot at my job, just solve problems. And I don't know, I have no idea how I do it. A lot of times I twist the people's arms, you know?
Yeah.
But
well, you might dip into that little poem. If I was,
that's a great idea,
and maybe get some wording there from it, because that is a great little poem to read.
I may start off with it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you do your own read of it.
I am familiar with that because one time on his forum, John Bird said that was his favorite poem.
Yeah, I mean, Kipling gets right to the heart of certain kinds of things. That's why I figured you'd like the one with Sean Connery and Michael Caine so much.
About the Kings,
directed by John Huston. What is it called?
Were they? I know what you're talking about because
they're all Masons. Which is
but they're trying to set up their own kingdom, right, or something in Africa. Well, what's the name of it?
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick.
Why don't you look it up real quick, Ellis? What is that?
Connery. That should give me my hit.
Yeah, there shouldn't be. They can't be.
The Man Who Would Be King. The Man Who Would Be King.
Yeah, I knew it had King in the title.
Yeah. Yeah, Flyprox Pro. Big help, Flyprox Pro. The Man Who Would Be King. That is a great movie. If nobody's that comes across this podcast has ever seen it, it may sound like it might be stick in the mud kind of stuff, two superstars. Well, that's where you're thinking about modern day movies where you get two superstars together. You got two actors together with an old timey Hollywood director that said, "Okay, boys, we're going to make a movie," and boy, they made a movie. It was good, and the source material is great.
Yeah, it was based off a book, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Rudyard Kipling again.
Oh, it is. I didn't realize it was a Rudyard Kipling book.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can't get anything past me.
Yeah, that Rudyard Kipling, another big influence on, I saw someone else mention this, was the fellow Narwhal. He had also seen the same interview where William Goldman, who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, he talked about the essence of everything he does. Frank Zappa would call this conceptual continuity, where everything I do has always got a little of the same thing in it every time. And for William Goldman, and I hope I got that right, I think that's Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid guy.
I think so. I think you're right.
But he talked about how Gunga Din, he saw that movie when he was at a formative age, and it was the most important thing in the world to me because of Gunga Din's stupid courage. And he always tried to include that characteristic because he found that his spirit soared the most, and he felt most in touch with like the human condition when you came across a guy that had stupid courage, where it wasn't an intellectual process. It was something that just, came out of him that he could almost not basically resist,
Yeah. The perfect example, and the example that I'm going to use in my podcast, is in Indiana Jones, or in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indy and Marion are on they're on a sand hill, and the Nazis are like digging up the thing or something. The Nazis are getting the dig, and Marion asks Indy, "What are we going to do now?" And he says, "I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along."
So there's another Kipling thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always, and I when I was a kid, I just thought that was cool because it was just like this confidence, but it was a confidence born out of, I don't know if you call it bravery or stupidity.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's what I call it, stupid bravery.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to see that interview. It's a pretty good interview with Goldman talking about that. He went back to see the stupid movie about 10 times. He just fell in love with that. And I've seen it a couple times. It is a great movie. Gunga Din.
The Gunga Din.
The original one with Cary Grant.
I'm taking notes.
And also, and I believe, your Harrison Ford thing and Rudyard Kipling, just to go back to another thing, I'm not entirely sure, what's his name, Asalius or whatever his name is, that was his big help in at the digs.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't he? When he goes...
Salid or something like that, yeah.
When he goes and tells him goodbye, I think he goes off in the distance, throwing fists in the air and singing some sort of like verse from Rudyard Kipling. Sala, you're...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sala, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
What would we do without Fly Fox Pro? I've got to ask myself. Look at that.
We'd be talking to ourselves.
There you go.
That's what we'd be doing. No. This has been very profitable because I've had that idea for the podcast for a long time, but I haven't been able to get it to gel. And that totally makes it gel for me, because I think that appeals to a lot of people, and if you don't have it, I think it appeals to people.
I mean,
if people don't have it, they look up. Yeah, they look up to people that do without even knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I was talking to this guy at my work today, and he was talking about, different. We were kind of grousing about the company. I talked for 3 hours to this guy today. I told my wife, I can't believe how much the company paid me to talk on the phone to this guy today.
But, you're at home,
Oh, yeah, I'm at home, and and what's funny, we're doing these portraits. And I'm having to, and he's like, I wish we could find some examples of, like what an eyeball is supposed to look like. And I go, well, just so happens I have a large art library here. And so tomorrow I'm going to spend a little bit of time digging through portrait books and drawing books, finding good examples of, that I can share with some of the people that I'm trying to instruct on this. But anyway, he was complaining about how some of the people at the company, if you wanted to get promoted, you had to basically just bear down and stick with it, which is exactly what I was told before I got my promotion. They were like, "We're looking for people with grit," and he's like, "Yeah, but they're making people crazy." And I go, "Yeah, but that's what he didn't. I don't think he got it. What my boss had told me, and what several people had told me, is you got to prove that you've got grit. They want people that are just going to get stuff done. Not because I can't tell you the number of times that I've been approached about something at work, and it's literally like a oh no moment. Everything is going bad. How are we going to fix this? And you can't fall apart. They don't. That's not good.
No. Someone's going to have to pick up pieces even if things do fly apart. Flyfox Pro makes another great contribution. No, it's not. It's not
Yes.
Rudyard Kipling. It's a Gilbert and Sullivan song. And see if this sounds familiar. A British tar is a roaring soul as free as a mountain bird. Okay, a mountain bird. Okay.
A mountain bird.
Why?
I like it because on our other
Do you know what a
podcasts,
tar is?
one of the many
Do you know what
tar? No.
I thought it was a sailor.
Oh,
maybe not. I'll look it up.
Sing it again.
A British tar is a soaring soul, as free as a mountain bird. But of course, he's pumping his fist in the air and got all that enthusiasm. British tar. British tar. I could have YouTube sing it for us.
So, well, we may get a copyright strike. So so I have, you saw my, so you know this, but I still haven't heard about was I working on my Spider-Gwen stuff last week? I got that done.
I think so. You got that done.
I think I was. I got that done, which was great because I was one of a few. I started after everyone else. I got 3 pages done, and there were a lot of people that couldn't even muster up 3 pages, and they had 2 weeks. I had 3 nights. So
a British tar is basically a ship.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a British ship is as free as a bird.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which makes sense. They got to have tar all through them to keep from leaking.
Yeah, pitch or whatever.
Yeah.
So I submitted my Spider-Gwen samples to the comics experience, which was the whole point of doing that, like a ninny, when I should have been working on this. But I also submitted. Valiant Comics is taking submissions because since they're not doing conventions, they're doing online portfolio reviews.
Huh.
And so
they're
doing them. Yeah. So I submitted my Spider-Gwen panels to that. Now they're doing 2 days of them, and they're doing 10 a day. So the odds of getting one are pretty slim, but we'll see. I don't know, but I don't know if they've even started working yet at Valiant. I'm not sure. You know, I was given by someone that used to work at Marvel a chart of how much they make, which I shared with Ellis.
Oh,
and I won't break it all down. I won't break it all down because, for one, I don't remember all of it, but I do remember pencils were like what was it, 150 to 180 or 160 to 180, something like that. And it's like, I don't know why anyone would work for that, Ellis.
No. No, it's very hard work for one thing. You've got to already have your, like you say, your callus on doing that kind of work to even think about working that hard on doing it. You've got to be able to whip it out already on a level that just, like I say, I feel like next to an animator, there's nothing that'll make you into a more of an artist than having to be a comic book artist. It's just too much. You just have to be able to do it all. That's what's amazing. I'll plug Mike Miller's little project he's got out. It's just chock full of all these caricatures, just dead on great line drawings and all this stuff. And he really pumped that out within it was probably under 6 months. And it's what is it called? It's not much of a plug if you can't think of the name of it. But I think anybody that's following me is probably aware of what Mike Miller's selling right at the moment. But that comic book is just, oh man, it's level of likenesses and stuff like that. Most people, they just kind of give up on doing a likeness from panel to panel.
Oh yeah.
They just get in they get in the ballpark and say, oh, that's good enough. But no, he
round jaw, good to go.
Yeah. I'm not Mort Drucker. Never said I was.
Nor do I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, I know what I was going to say. Here's the thing, man. I mean, I figured it out, and if you figured out, it's about like $40,000 a year. If you do 12 issues, which a lot of artists don't because of the way Marvel schedules people, and they also will pay you less sometimes, from what I understand. And then on top of that, when nobody ever figures, I mean, everybody goes, oh well, yeah, you have to provide your own insurance. On top of that, you have to pay your self-employment tax. Yeah. You'll lose a third of that at least.
You have to, if anybody asks you, you have to just say I'm doing it for fun, because you aren't doing it to make a living. You aren't doing it to retire.
Well, yeah. Well, but see, that's my thing is I'm doing this comic, and I hope it does great. I hope they make a movie of it and I get rich. But if it were to go for a little bit, and then maybe I guess what I'm saying is, to me, like a Marvel Comics job, that'd be a good retirement job, or if I could do it, and this is why I did that Spider-Gwen thing, because I'm like, if I could do it and keep my day job, that's a pretty good second job,
Well, yeah.
I mean, I've got insurance. I've got a 401k. I've got vacation days. If I could, but I mean, that's a lot of ifs right there, because I don't know. But that's why that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do that Spider-Gwen thing. Not because I want to get a Marvel job, which that's always the dream or whatever, but just because I wanted to see, because I've been working on this comic for so long, and I'm doing inks and all the lettering and all this other stuff. It's like, if I had to do it fast, how fast could I do the thing? And I can do almost a page a night, depending on the page and all that jazz. But I don't know. Anyway, but somebody else commented on the thing that did that Spider-Gwen deal, which, by the way, for anybody that missed it, the Spider-Gwen thing was a deal through Comics Experience, and Bon Amiglia, I know I'm butchering his name because that's not how it goes, but Bon Amiglia, who used to be the talent scout, or one of the talent scouts at Marvel, now works for the Comics Experience, and he's going to review them, possibly live on like a live stream. It'll only be for members though. You have to, Comics Experience is a school you pay for. But anyway, I saw that he was doing that, and I thought, well, I'd like to get in on that. I'd be curious what he had to say. But then it's like, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it so that it's if I can do it fast. And he's like, hey, this isn't too bad considering you knocked it out in 3 hours.
Talking about knocking it out, Fly Fox Pro had added the Magnificent 7. Magnificent 7 is the name of is the it's all about after Trump gets reelected. And he adds the note that it took him less than 2 months, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, it's it's a good looking comic book with like crowd scenes and all kinds of stuff in it. I mean, it's he didn't go light on tasking himself like I've gone really light on my little horror comic book. I mean, I made it as easy on myself as I possibly could. And, it shows it. But at the same time, I've decided the next thing I ever do, I'm just going to design it rotten, basically, is the way I'm thinking of it. And I'm going to have pencils that are just a matter of, I'm rendering everything that has been completely thought through. The pencils are finished pencils. Because, as you're drawing there, you're going to find the things you're able to draw quickly and assuredly are those nice little things you've got. Your reference of those cars, you're just going to go right to it on those cars and finish them up without having to do a whole lot of fill in the blank on how you're going to deal with those other bits of thumbnailing,
By the way, 14 is done.
Oh, really?
On to 15. Yep, that's why I printed it. That's why I was in the other room when you called, or when you, because I wanted to get 15 printed out. There's no letters on here because the script has changed. So there was a reference in the script to slavery. So I contacted the writer and I was like, you may want to take that out. So the thing is, there's a race, and the between the good angels and the demons, and so at one point they say, well, if the winner gets to enslave the loser, and so I contacted the writer and I go, I was reading over this and I'm cool. You can do whatever. You're the writer, but would you be interested in changing that? And I didn't know what he was going to come up with, and he saw it as perfect. He said, "Oh, okay, they're betting each other's soul." It's like, "Oh, okay, that's perfect because there's angels and demons, and it takes any kind of political nonsense or whatever out of it. We don't have to worry about." Even though controversy might be good, but I don't know that the writer wants controversy.
Yeah. Well, you ought to, in terms of getting it out there and selling it.
Well, my problem is I would hate for hey, we've got to deal with whoever, Netflix or whatever, and then it's like, oh yeah, someone read the graphic novel and it makes light of slavery in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
there's so many ways to.
One of the angels says.
But getting canceled is part of life anymore. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah. Well, if they'll cancel J.K. Rowling, they'll cancel anybody. Well, and what's funny is there was some Harry Potter website that was like, we're not going to mention her on our website. And I was like, how can you have a website that's dedicated and not give the creator credit? To me, it seems like she'd have a perfect case to get them shut down, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know. I mean, she's so flaky that I don't know.
That's the deal. It was funny, all these conservative people coming to her defense because all of a sudden, it was about cancel culture instead of the stuff that she usually, is talking about with people.
Yeah. It's ironic, but, and here's the thing. It's like, well, if you're against that, it's like freedom of speech. If you believe in freedom of speech, if you really believe in freedom of speech, then you don't have a problem with speech that you disagree with, because that's otherwise, what's the point of freedom of? You don't have freedom of speech if it's only speech that you like, and that's what people people don't get nowadays, or some people don't get, is this idea that you're this freedom only matters if it makes people uncomfortable, Otherwise, then if it's if you had the freedom of the press, well, if you can't publish stuff that makes people uncomfortable, then then you don't have a freedom of the press, because you just have the ability to put out what people agree with, like in the New York Times, and that whatever that article was where the guy said, I don't agree with the rioters, and then all of a sudden the press room's in a riot, and one of the editors that approved it gets fired or quits or whatever. It's like, well, that's not freedom of the press.
Yeah.
Freedom of the and it was an editorial. It wasn't. It was an opinion piece.
Yeah. Oh, there's
but
been,
we don't.
There's been a lot of stuff that's being done strictly as a the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of stuff that's going on right now with the thinking that is going on, because all of them conceivably joined together as enemies of Trump. Well, that's, that hopefully ends someday, but I don't want it to end for at least 4 years, because I think we're exactly, I'm seeing the exact people I want to say, no, you're wrong. And, so let the argument go on. So what? They've managed to get a lot of power as far as the access to the communication,
Yeah.
Maybe that'll swing
it
around.
Was interesting.
There's always reactions too. I mean, it's like everything. We're all reacting to the fact that we've had this go on, that these people, all the left has the powers of, the levers of communication, or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah, the media.
That has to change. And so I guess the change has started. I mean, you've got to figure out a way to get around the fact that Google is going to be there for quite a while.
Yep.
I hate that.
And I don't even like Google.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about my drawings here. I'm trying to do some roughs for my cover ideas, and I've got several that are okay, but got to get off the dime on getting the character design and the posing. The posing is always the tough. Oh, you know what? I got my little pose thing. I ought to use it.
Yeah, you use your little pose master or whatever it is. I used it on the Spider-Man thing. There was that pose of the Vulture swooping down on Spider Gwen or whatever her name is, because I needed a shot from behind that looked right. So I pulled out my little gray guy and got the pose, and then kind of twisted around until I got the angle that I liked.
Did you ever finish all those Blanding Castles?
We finished the television series. I did not finish the books.
No. I was wondering if you finished the TV.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched all of them. They were very fun. Lots of fun.
We were sad when we finished them because we were watching them at lunchtime, and we're always scrambling for something that we can watch. I mean, because we don't watch a lot of television, and so it's like, well, at lunch, we got about 30-minute lunch, give or take a little bit. And we were watching YouTube videos of different things. We're doing some Disney abandoned rides and some of that kind of stuff. But we watched this, and we really liked them. I wish that it was sad. At one point, it was like there was one, and I kept asking Michelle, "Do you want to watch it?" It's the last one. No, let's save it. So it took us a while to watch that last one, just because of not wanting to run out, because we knew
it was funny. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even though supposedly there have been other adaptions, but they're not on Prime, apparently.
Yeah. It was funny. The Lord Emsworth, the guy that played Lord Emsworth, I just got finished watching those, and then I'm watching that 4-hour Hamlet, and and he's the main character that they always call him the comic interest of in Hamlet, with the two friends that come along, and they're actually working for the king, and they're kind of backstabby kind of characters that basically are assigned the task of killing Hamlet on the way to England, or at least delivering a note that gets him assassinated. Oh, now I can't think of their names. But they're left out entirely out of the Laurence Olivier one, which is only 2 hours. But with 4 hours, there's no excuse for leaving them out. It's a 4-hour play. It's a 4-hour movie. But anyway, it was, so he was in it, and of course, you see that face after you've seen him in, a couple of things where he's kind of comic, and he is playing it, what are the names of those characters? Jeez. I'll look them up. No, I almost did it. I almost typed in a search on that page.
Oh, no.
No.
That's how we got kicked off last week or the week before. So did you like you've read the books. Did you think it was comparable to the books or true to the books?
Oh, it did a very good job of channeling a lot of the plots and a lot of the elements and the wackiness of the typical conflicts that go on. Yeah, it did a really good job. Hamlet.
Okay.
Comedy.
Because I've listened to some of the audiobooks and I've been lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just couldn't keep up with them for some reason. Some audiobooks sometimes lose me. I don't know why. I think it's the narrator, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I'm coming off of listening to. What was the last thing I listened to? Oh, anyway, right now I'm back to Charles Willeford. I'm listening to a Hope Mosley story. Did you ever see Miami Vice?
The TV show?
No, Miami Blues. Thanks. I'm glad you caught me on that.
Oh, no. Oh, I think Fly Fox Pro is taking off or has taken off.
That is.
You should watch
Wim. What?
Cadful. I don't know what Cadful. Oh, Fly Fox Pro is recommending something called Cadfall. I'll check it out. I don't know if it was directed at you, me, or both of us.
Well, I'm sure it's probably in the.
Gotta go. Oh no, Flat Fox Pro didn't leave. Wim left.
Rosencratz and Guildenstern. That's the name of the characters in Hamlet. That basically, the moment Hamlet is to arrive in England, they are to pass a note that is to get him killed. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the joke is on them. I don't know how funny they're supposed to be. I didn't get a lot of laughs out of, their stuff, but. But the joke is that he contrives to have the letter. He gets the letter, he intercepts it, changes the wording that Guildenstern and Rosencratz are to be killed when they deliver the message. So,
Oh.
But then on the way to England, he is. He boards in a lot of bravado. It reminded me of Master and Commander, swinging on a rope with a saber in your teeth. He arrives on board on the pirate ship that tries to attack them, but for whatever reason, they're instantly thrust apart. They have a clash, and then they go their separate ways, and all of a sudden, Hamlet is aboard with the pirates, with no way to get back, and so all of a sudden it becomes a social skill kind of thing, I guess, to where Hamlet basically becomes good buddies with the pirates and say, "Hey, I'm worth money back in Denmark," basically.
So he's basically talking his way out of getting.
Well, that doesn't occur in the play, other than just vaguely referenced aside. So as well, and here's those Hardys, and pay them some money.
Yeah.
You should always check to see if I know first. Yeah. He would have known Gilder. He would have known who I was talking about. And
Gotcha.
The guy that was popping in and popped out is named Nayan Wim, and he's an artist. I tell you what.
Oh, okay.
I went on to person I happen to follow that's a concept artist, does art for animation and stuff. So I said, hey, the quick way to get a whole lot of fun stuff to look at art-wise is to see who she follows. So she's got 600 people she follows. And by golly, there are 600 people that I also don't follow that I could be following that are typically like in charge of departments and are really good artists and stuff like that. But that just shows you how many people are in the arts anymore. And, you know, Scott Adams talks about this factor. Says, I can always tell when I'm dealing with an artist. He uses it as a kind of a zinger to say, you know, I'm surrounded by idiots, basically, when he talks about, I can tell you're an artist, basically. You know, he feels like, you know, we're all just a little too pampered. And I kind of agree with that. I do too. I'm the kind of guy that, way up the thread, he said Rosencratz and Guildenstern. Okay. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's funny you say that, Ellis, because I always consider myself very fortunate to be doing what I'm doing, not drawing this, but with my day job, because I have worked at my day job for like 32 years. And I feel like anybody that lives in Oklahoma City, which is not a big art town, not with a lot of art jobs, certainly, and has been an artist, is fortunate. But also, you know, I work with a guy who I'm his boss. I make more than he makes. Let me put it that way. And he went to school, same place I did, kind of a small art college, basically a technical college. Went to the same courses I did, but he got out and he worked for a company that went out of business, and so he went back to school and got more degrees and more debt, and then he did that several times. And I'm like, you know, I went to that school and my debt was like $3,000, and I've kind of taken it and I've kind of ran with it, you know. And I mean, I could have maybe done better had I gone like your route and went to a coast or something. But I mean, I feel like, you know, I've been very fortunate. But I think
that's what impressed me about the Larry Latham bio. That guy got to do a lot of things he could not have done if he had stayed in Oklahoma and around. He went to the University of Oklahoma, but I get the feeling he was more, if you wanted to talk about his place he actually was more like, now I forget. He's more like a deep South kind of guy where he was from.
Oh, yeah. I heard somebody recently said, somebody's asking, and this, I think it's floating around on the internet, that somebody asked somebody, you know, what art school should I go to or whatever, and they were like, man, save your money, don't go to art school, because you'll rack up a fortune in bills, and everything you need to learn, you could learn if you spent that same amount of time drawing and studying.
Oh yeah. You could learn it all. The only reason I would say use a strategy of learn everything, train yourself up, and then go to school just long enough to get a little network, and also be kind of like the hot guy, show up with a whole lot of talent, and you know, and then maybe learn some stuff too. You may get some good teachers that are good mentors about how to do this and that. But the main thing you want to do is just get a little bit of a network going that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A girl at my church was talking about going to school, and she had applied at the Art Student League in New York, and she was telling me, yeah, it's like $75,000 a year or something like that. She's like, I'm not doing that.
No, it's really ridiculous. And like I say, that unending feed on those people that I could follow that are artists that are higher level artists than me, and you see it when you see the feed on any big movie release. It's like, my God, there's a lot of creative people out there, and so the competition is fierce, and you should follow that Scott Adams notion of like get your talent stacked to where you aren't just an artist. See, I never tried to be anything but a guy that could sketch. I'm just lucky to be alive, basically. And I was never happy unless I was doing a job that involved using my art abilities, and yet I managed to find a little something that kept me kind of happy, throughout life.
Oh, happiness is overrated.
Oh yeah, no, especially when it comes to earning your living.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy at my work. I mean, I've got but I mean, like that, talking to that one guy today, I mean, he was just like, yeah, they just kind of treat people like crap. And I'm like, well, that's not really been my experience. But he works under different people, and I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've been pretty fortunate in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah. I feel like you've had a good run at that place you're at. Not too many people rack up 30 years anywhere.
Yeah, if the virus doesn't kill it, it'll be great. But if it does, I'll do something. I don't know what. I hope. I would love. What I'd love, Ellis? I'd love for my comic to be successful enough that we either do more or it goes to a different medium and we're able to do more of them, and either out of that I'm able to get where I'm able to do some additional work either for a bigger company or whatever, or just I don't really want to be one of these guys that does like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to cons and sell prints and stuff. I don't want to do that. I just want to make comics and
Well, those guys that they're doing that for survival. They've said they want.
Oh, I know.
They want to be artists, and that's where it's at in terms of like getting a little bit of a trickle in. For that.
Yep. Oh, that's how I feel fortunate that I don't have to do that. I can spend all my time doing this. Making comics, making my comics, and it's like I put that Spider-Gwen thing in, and I did one page a while back that was drawn in kind of a Bronze Age style, and I posted that, and I said, I've drawn this before. I said, but this was something I did before, and I said, yeah, I wanted to draw it in a Bronze Age style, and I did it, not really know, just because I wanted to experiment with it, and that's how I wanted to draw it. I don't really care if people at Marvel looked at it and said, no, I don't care, that's not really my problem. I mean, I've seen what they pay. I couldn't take the pay cut, Ellis.
Yeah, exactly. Joy greater than happiness.
Joy is greater. I agree with that. I have a joy is greater than happiness. I believe that joy comes from a place that happiness will let you down. Happiness is too circumstantial. Joy comes out of your heart, and I think joy is more of a spiritual thing, but that's a whole nother podcast. Mm-hmm. But joy. I'd rather have joy than happiness because I've been in not too many, thankfully, but I've been in circumstances where I haven't been happy.
Sure.
It wasn't fun, but I'll take. The great thing about Hot Wheels, if you get the right one, it even has engine details on the bottom.
Really? Pop.
Yeah,
pop,
this one doesn't.
The hood open.
Well, no, I mean, like, I don't know if you can see this.
See.
Oh,
Here, I'll make you big.
Okay.
And let's see, how do I do that? Right. So we'll lay out. There you go.
You can.
That's it. You know what? You're exactly the same size.
I was gonna say it's not any bigger. It just turned you off. But yeah. So this is the monster truck. It's a police monster truck, but I'm using it for the demon's car. And then this is the car that the angels are driving.
Cool.
Now that
looks cool just looking at it on your TV or your camera, because it's got some nice wide angle kind of qualities to it that happen with even the little lens on that your camera. It's really nice.
Yeah. Well, I read through the script, and it had to be a convertible because there are people jumping in and out of it, and the writer called it a hot rod. Now I wouldn't call it a hot rod, but a hot rod is typically a 2-seater kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I knew that was, and that's also like whatever Lincoln that is the one that JFK was shot in, I believe.
Really?
And the model. 64 Lincoln. Yeah, I believe that's the JFK Memorial Special there.
Really? Well, it's got that big old, big old trunk on it. Yeah.
Yeah, the big trunk that Jacqueline Kennedy crawled across trying to escape. Or no, she was trying to retrieve part of her husband's skull, wasn't she? Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think she's doing like everybody does under gunfire. They try to get away from
getting the heck out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like jumping because a snake strikes.
Hey, I don't blame her.
No. A snake strikes at you, you jump, and that's all that happens. It's just a human thing. You realize you're in a hot. You realize you're in a hot seat. You want to get out of it.
Yeah. Have you ever been down there to Dealey Plaza?
No, I never have.
Oh, Michelle. Well,
except the one time. The one time. I'm kidding.
I got that.
I was a kid. I was in 6th grade.
Okay, we'll let you off the hook. Okay. I went down there, and you look at it, and you look where. Where they have a big X in the road where Kennedy was shot.
Really?
Where each of the bullets, where the car was, when the bullets hit, they're big X's. And it's just like on TV. You can go and you can get behind that was called a picket fence, but it's a stockade fence. You can get behind that, and you're like, if I were here, I would have a perfect shot on that guy. And then you go up in the thing, and they won't let you wear. Oswald was, and I'm convinced it's because if you looked at it, you'd be like, he didn't shoot this.
Well,
I mean, he may have. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying if you were there, you might be like, that doesn't look doable.
I'm going to look up Oswald's rifle right now. I know I was thinking.
Oh yeah, it was an Italian, like a Macanudo or something like that.
Well, I wanted to see how it was configured. Yeah, he did have a little scope on it. I was thinking that another thing that made it difficult, I was thinking he may have just had his iron sights on it. But the deal is the thing.
No, I think he had a
little scope on it. The deal is that it was a going away shot. In other words, there's very little adjustment once you've taken your breath and you're settled in to take your shot. You get to squeeze off a couple of shots that are all going to be right where you want them.
Right, the angle isn't changing.
Yeah. And at the point when the first shot hit, if the driver had gone a little crazy going left and right, but he doesn't know what he ought to be up to either. He just knows to hit the gas. Hit the gas.
Yeah. It's a pretty crazy thing. It's cool. I mean, as close as we live to it, and of course now nobody's traveling anywhere. But it's interesting to see it. If everyone,
sure. I go to movie locations to walk around and say, hey, look at this cool place. I'm here now, and cool things happened here. Yeah. Just
yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd call it a
well,
cool
no,
thing,
no.
but yeah, something
I'm
interesting.
talking about
something
with
historical.
reference to movie locations.
Right. Well, I just wanted to be clear.
Oh yeah.
Give you a chance to exonerate yourself before they canceled
Yeah.
us. For you,
Like I've been to the Bradbury Building, where the
oh, you have.
I've
I'd
been
like to
to
go to the
Bronson
Bradbury
Canyon.
Building.
I've been to what else? I've been to Griffith Park, where James Dean had his knife fight.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And there's another guy that was cool, James Dean.
James Dean. Yep.
And
Yeah.
every actor. You talk about an actor that Harrison Ford would have been very aware of. He would be very aware of James Dean.
Oh, and certainly, what's his name? Steve McQueen would have.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, James Dean, they were all circling around the same sort of parts that were coming out down the road. I have been watching those those great little Wanted Dead or Alive, and those are weird as far as trying to be real adult and real. His character is just like, hey man, that's all on you, and he threatens saying, I'm gonna, he basically threatens to kill people for just basically not complying with what he wants them to do, which usually your Roy Rogers hero didn't do that. I'm about to kill you if you don't do this or that.
What I think I'm unfamiliar with the Wanted Dead or Alive. Is that a Western series?
If you have a Roku
TV series,
yeah, if you have a Roku, it's on the Roku channel. You can watch it.
Okay, I'll write that down too.
Wanted Dead or Alive. You might like them. They get better on season 2s. Hey, Scott, we've been at it an hour 11. You ready to quit?
Yeah, let's call it. I think.
Hey, Flyfox Pro, thanks for all the help. You were great. And
yeah, thanks for joining us, and anybody else that happened to drop in or watches this in syndication or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay, ending podcast. Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night.